Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Bank Shot Breakdown. We're going to go over 5 college basketball games for Wednesday, February 28th, 2024. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my college basketball Bank Shot best bet, you can find those at the premium picks tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Wednesday in college hoops. First up, we see Louisville and Duke. This one's going to be a 7 p.m. Eastern start time. It's going to be on the ACC network. And I know it's not fun backing teams like Louisville who have a bad record, 8-19 overall and 3-13 in conference play. And they're struggling as of late. The recent results aren't the best. But because of those recent results, we're getting a really, really good price with the Cardinals, in my opinion, in this game on the road. Duke coming off that really emotional game against Wake Forest where it was back and forth, a really, really entertaining game. You lose that one in a close one late. The court storming happens. Filipowski gets injured. He is questionable for this game, but it's also, tough to come back from a game like that and blow out an opponent, especially, when you feel pretty good about your chances with or without Filipowski in terms of earning the W. If it was me, if Filipowski's at 100%, there's no reason to risk further injury and playing him against Louisville. You have a good chance of winning the game anyway, and there's still 3 games left in the regular season, conference tournament play, and the NCAA tournament. So to me, I just think that Duke is overvalued in this spot. And when you look at these two teams' records, you got Louisville at, like I said, 8-19. Duke is one of the best teams in the conference and the country at 21-6. Yet both of these teams have the same exact record against the spread, which is the only thing we care about in conference play this year. They're both profitable, barely, but both have the same ATS record, and that just goes to show you, a lot of these times you can find some really good prices with some of the bad teams in the conferences. And Louisville, if this was their first true road game of the season in a really tough building like this, for a young team, I'd say no way. But this team has played a lot of true road games in tough places, throughout the season to really get that experience. They played at Virginia, Syracuse in the Carrier Dome, at North Carolina, at Clemson, and they actually were competitive in some of those games. They lost by 2 points at Syracuse, only lost by 6 against Clemson. They covered against North Carolina, getting a ton of points. So to me, this is the case of way too many points. I'm going to go with Louisville and plus the points in this one. Next up, we see Oklahoma and Iowa State. This one's going to be a 8 p.m. Eastern start time. It's going to be on ESPN+. It's always tough to play that next game after a rivalry game. We just saw Oklahoma play Oklahoma State, but it's even tougher when you win that game in overtime on the road. It's, a clear letdown spot here for the Sooners. Their second straight true road game, third true road game in the last 4, and you're playing Iowa State, who has one of the best home court advantages in the country. They've been so strong at home this season. They've yet to lose a home game this year. And just the way that Iowa State plays, they force a ton of turnovers, number 2 in the country in turnover percentage defensively. Oklahoma this season has notably had an issue taking care of the basketball, ranked 223rd in the nation in turnover percentage offensively. These teams already played once. Oklahoma got the better of Iowa State in that first matchup, but that was at the beginning of conference play, January 6th. It was an 8-point win, and it was actually, it was at Oklahoma, of course. So, Iowa State playing at home with revenge, with Oklahoma off their, big win over their rivals, a game that shouldn't have been that close, but it was, and, went to overtime. To me, it's just a miserable spot for the Sooners. I'm going to go with Iowa State here. I think they get a big win and cover. Next up, we see South Carolina and Texas A&M. This one's going to be 8:30 Eastern on the SEC Network. Neither of these teams are in great form right now. South Carolina's lost 2 of its last 3. Texas A&M is on a 4-game losing streak, but I think the Aggies bounce back here. I like this spot for them at home. Part of this 4-game losing streak, it was 2 bad losses against Vanderbilt and Arkansas, and then 2 losses that you can explain against Alabama and Tennessee on the road. Now, those were blowout losses, so you don't want to see 100-75 and 86-51 final scores, but still, Texas A&M's been a lot better at home this season. I think this matchup's a lot more beneficial. This is a team that creates a lot of good looks offensively. Just the shooting numbers have just not been there. They're ranked 360th in three-point shooting, 352nd effective field goal percentage, but they are a team that takes care of the ball. They get a lot of offensive rebounds. They get an offensive rebound on 42.4% of their missed shots. They also get to the free throw line a ton. So I think the offense will be fine here, and I think the defense really steps it up after some bad performances. Like I said, it was tough matchups at Alabama, at Tennessee, but you shouldn't be giving up that many points to begin with. Now it's South Carolina playing in its 3rd true road game in 4 games, and their 2nd straight. I think this is finally the game where Texas A&M settles down, grabs really a must-win game at home, and maybe saves their season. But it's going to be an uphill battle for the Aggies. But it starts here. I'm going to go with Texas A&M and lay the points. Next up, we see St. John's and Butler. This one's going to be a 8:30 Eastern start time as well. It's going to be on CBS Sports Network. Last week we took Creighton against UConn when UConn was off of its win against Marquette, a big blowout win. We said it's a clear letdown spot for UConn. Got to go with Creighton, who's a really solid team. They're playing at home, and Creighton won that game for us by double digits. It was, blowout win for Creighton. But then we said on Sunday, Creighton's coming off the win against UConn. It's a clear letdown spot, beating the number one team in the nation. And yeah, you're on the road against St. John's, a desperate St. John's team. And St. John's won that game against Creighton by double digits at home. So you would think, probably take Butler in this game. This is a clear letdown spot for St. John's. Got to go with Butler. However, when I look at this game, I look at the fundamentals from both of these teams, and I look at the first matchup between these teams in the season series. To me, there's nothing that tells me that Butler, is going to have any different result in this second meeting. Butler, first of all, is in bad form. I mean, they've lost 4 straight games and 5 of the last 6. And the really big concern for me is St. John's, what they look to do offensively, they take a lot of mid-range jumpers, and they score a good amount of their points from 2-point field goals. And we saw that in that Creighton game where Creighton just could not stop the mid-range jumper. Guys like Jenkins, who was 11 of 16 from 2. Dingle was 8 of 10 from 2-point range as well. St. John's as a team made 32 2-point field goals. A lot of those were either, at the rim or mid-range jumpers from some of these guards, and they just took advantage all game long. Butler is really struggling against 2-point field goals this season. In fact, in their last 3 games, we've seen Butler play Creighton, Villanova, and Seton Hall. In all 3 of those games, they got crushed from the 2-point range. In that game against Creighton, a 22-point loss. Creighton was 23 of 35 from 2, 66%, well above Butler's season average. Against Villanova, another double-digit loss against Villanova. The Wildcats were 15 of 27 from 2, 56%, again, above their season average for the defense. And then against Seton Hall, another double-digit loss. Seton Hall was 24 of 43 from 2-point range, 56%. If St. John's is getting those open mid-range jumpers, and they're not the most sustainable shots most games, but against Butler, I think they will be. And we saw in the first matchup of the season series a 16-point win for St. John's. They were outstanding from 2-point range. They were 28 of 47 from 2, 59, just 60%. You rounded up. To me, I don't think I don't see anything changing from that first matchup. And with Butler struggling as much as they are, and St. John's, the season's not over yet. I mean, just because you beat Creighton once doesn't mean your season's saved. You need a game like this on the road. I'm going to go with St. John's here on the road. I think they grab the W. And the final game we're going to talk about for the Wednesday card in college basketball, it's going to be Alabama and Ole Miss. This one's going to be 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. It was a disaster of a defensive performance for Alabama in its last game, giving up an NBA score, 117 points in that 117-95 loss. And I do think Alabama's defense, while it still has a lot of room for improvement, is a lot better than what we saw in that game. And I think they force a lot of tough shots. We should see that defense improve, especially in this matchup against a struggling Ole Miss team. And Ole Miss, their defense has also not been outstanding. Even though Chris Beard is the coach, they're ranked 133rd in the nation in adjusted defensive efficiency. Not great for a SEC team. And they're also ranked 355th in defensive rebounding. That's what really concerns me in this ballgame. Alabama is already a really potent offense. They're number 1 in the nation in adjusted offensive efficiency, number 5 in effective field goal percentage. But if you're giving Alabama those second chance looks, which they will take, they're number 20 in the country as well in offensive rebounding percentage, they can really do some damage. And we've seen Alabama put up triple digits a few times this season, more than a few times. 100 against A&M, 109 against LSU, 101 against Liberty, and 111 against Eastern Kentucky, as well as some non-conference games at the beginning of the season. They could put up 100 in this game, because of how fast that they play offensively. I know Ole Miss looks to slow things down, but Ole Miss has not really controlled much of anything in the last 6 games where they've lost 5 of the last 6. I got to go with Alabama here. I think they bounce back from that ugly loss, grab a big win on the road. And that's it. Those are the games for Wednesday in college basketball. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, and put your college basketball picks in the comments section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Romanelli. Good luck.